Hey, welcome to Fireside Tats, the official podcast of the Tattoo Improvement Network. Go to tattooimprovement.com, sign up for our newsletter. They won't do it, but I say it. They won't do it. I'm here with Johnny Clauson from Workhorse Irons. I wanted to get, I saw that Workhorse was here, so I contacted Johnny. Wanted to interview these guys because I have used Workhorse machines for several years. I have a lot of them. I don't know why. I don't know why I keep buying more machines, but I do. But I have several of Seth and Soba machines, and I love them, and they've been my workhorses, I guess, for some years now. So I thought we'd get together, talk. Johnny, he kind of runs the show, not building the machines, but he is general manager, I guess is what you said your title would be.
Yeah, technically, the pretty all-encompassing title of things. But
And you came in basically at the beginning, or how long have you been there?
I've been there 10 years now.
Oh, okay.
So a couple of years after the beginning, it was still a real small company when I started. And I started essentially answering phones and doing everything and working directly with Soba and his shop. And it's grown immensely since then.
Just he and Seth were building at that point?
Yeah, it started just Seth and BJ partnered on it, Seth and Soba. And then Aaron Kane joined pretty much at the same time, but he didn't want to be partners with it. He wanted to kind of just build machines and not have to do anything else. So it was just the three of them. And Corey Rogers came on soon after that. And, we slowly brought on other builders. We used to have the Schroeder machines, which was Jason Schroeder and Dennis Halbritter. We had those for a bit, and Brian Patton was there. Not right off the bat, but those were our old builders, and we've kind of just changed things around. People have gone different directions over the years, and we later brought on Chris Smith and Chris Quidgen and Mike Pike, which is huge, and Marv Learning, and just keep kind of rolling with things.
So are there, most of these guys have been building for a while before you bring them into the fold?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah. And so as far as that partnership goes, I mean, how does it, without going into super detail on it, how does it typically work? What are as far as you've got guys that are building machines all over the country or all over the world, you're in one space and you're trying to get some level of consistency or branding or a similar product out between all these guys. Is that kind of a challenge?
It requires a fair amount of coordination and constant communication with all of them. Essentially making sure that things are as they want them. We help prep parts, and we have run our full machine shop and get things built to them, made to their specs essentially, and then send them all the parts, and they put it all together and send it back to us. So just making sure when we're machining frames, making new binders, whatever else, that it's all to their specifications, and then we send it out to them for approval. They approve it, then we send them a whole bunch of parts and a whole bunch of shit ready to go, and they build it up and send it back. So just making sure we're constantly communicating with them to make sure their needs are met, but at the same time making sure the quality's there. And then also just making sure we get shit back from them, making sure that it's not sitting in their shop and we're out of stock of Seth machines or whatever.
Right. So it's going out to them, and then they're actually, the advantage to them is that you have the machine shop and you're able to produce the parts, and then so they're in creative control. You build to their specifications, send it to them, and they actually do all the assembly and tuning and all that.
So instead of them having to deal with various machine shops and various outsourcing, for especially the production stuff, we can make everything, and we can do large numbers of stuff that are similar and save everybody money. That's why it started initially. When Soba and Seth and Aaron came together, at the time, there weren't really production per se machines like what we have, what we call like our workhorse machines. It was fancy stuff or some shitty machines that cost less. So it's kind of making good machines available to everybody. So you could buy an Aaron Kane machine for $1,200 off eBay, or you could buy a workhorse machine for $300. It's not made out of meteorite steel or anything crazy, and it's not carved up, but it still runs the same. It's still tuned by Aaron Kane, built by him to his specs, same geometry as some of his fancier stuff, but it's bare bones, no frills, but built a tattoo. And that's kind of where it started, so they could pool their resources in that way. And we've just kind of grown it from there. Now we sell a lot of one-offs and customs kind of to meet the demand and, request of our own current customers. And it's kind of fun to do. But, we are still, our core is our base lineup of, essentially basic machines that run real well, essentially literally workhorses. So.
That's the thing that I noticed when I first started using Workhorses. Before that, I was buying, I had like National machines and stuff like that, and they would show up, and you'd have to screw with them to make them work right. And Workhorse was the first company that I noticed when I bought a machine. Like you said, it was affordable. I was paying like $250 at the time for a Soba or a Seth machine, and it would show up and it worked great right out of the box, and I didn't have to do anything to it.
Yeah, that was a big deal back then. We really pushed it to have a machine ready to go out of the box.
Yeah,
it wasn't possible unless you were buying maybe a $600 machine from somebody directly.
Right. Yeah, but because before that, it was you were buying these like I said, machines from National, it made more sense to even just buy the kit and save a few bucks and build it yourself, because you were going to have to screw with it so much anyways to make it run, because they just kind of slapped them together. It seemed like. As far as the not the production machines, but the custom machines, how is that working with the individual builders? Still the same process? You guys are doing the machining for them. They're just sending you different specifications based on...
It depends. Essentially, we have 3 different lineups. So we have the basic, what we would call production stuff, which, almost sounds bad. It's not production like a big factory, but it's just the basic stuff.
Right.
And then we have the limited edition custom stuff, which would be the regular Workhorse machines, but set up, a run of 10 wiener dogs with, a bright green powder coat and different coils or whatever. And then there's what we would call the one-offs, and those would be completely done by the builders from random parts of shit. So
Gotcha.
For the basic Workhorse stuff, for limited edition, we would send them all the parts and components, and then they prep it however they want. They'd make the regular production stuff, and then they would prep frames and hardware and parts for a limited run, and send those back. For the one-off, typically those are completely on their own. Sometimes they buy parts from us. Sometimes they get parts from each other. Sometimes they get parts from their own machine shops that they have. Mike Pike is incredibly well connected on the West Coast with different machine shops. He's doing a lot of stuff himself, and I would get a box in the mail from him of 40 fancy machines that none of them are our parts. It's all your shit he's just done on his own, and it's all sick and all cool, but that would be more one-off stuff.
Yeah.
So we'd try and cover, all bases. And now we're starting to get in the rotaries a little bit more and some of that as well.
That was going to be my next question. How has the kind of resurgence of rotaries affected the coil builders or the company overall?
We sell more coil machines than we ever have, and we continue to. I mean, every year is a bigger year than the year before, and it has been as long as I've been with Workhorse. So we keep selling more and more coil machines, but we're also selling more and more rotary machines. It seemed... we've kind of dabbled in rotaries for a bit, and we had the Workhorse one, which is kind of a variation between a coil and a rotary, had a little bit of give to it, but still was technically a rotary. And now we have some more, what you would call, I guess, traditional rotary machines, direct drive, sliders, spinners, all that. I saw a big swing when rotaries were really starting to gain popularity. A lot of people ditched their coil machines. Some sold off their whole collections and got all rotary stuff and got all set up with that. And what I've seen is a lot of those same people, which are a lot of them are our customers, they've swung back either completely to coil machines, or where the majority of people I see landing are a mixture of both.
Yeah.
They're using rotaries for certain things, they're using coil machines for all their lining. It doesn't seem to be everybody. From my perspective, that's the largest number of people I can see. Even a lot of our own customers that have been coil users for years are now coil and rotary users. I rarely come across people that are solely rotary.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I didn't know. It seems like obviously the marketing for rotaries has grown a lot. You see a lot of they're getting out there, they're getting in big name artists' hands, and they're promoting them and stuff like that. And there are a lot of kind of custom builders like Dan Cuban or whatever that are doing strictly rotaries and stuff and making them look real cool. And I thought, God, I wonder if this is if coils are really starting to taper off. It's interesting that you're selling more every year. But if you're selling more coils and more rotaries, then it just goes to show that the industry is just growing at such a clip that you're able to support both styles.
Mm-hmm. And there's, as you know, I'm sure different styles of tattooing, and certain aspects of rotaries and certain aspects of coil machines lend to, different types of tattooings that have been emerging. And we try and just meet the needs of our customers as best we can. Even like the Mike Pike ones that we carry are super nice. It's not anything revolutionary as far as a rotary goes, but it's made by Mike in the same aspect he makes his coil machines, and everything's really well done.
Yeah.
There is an emergence of some much larger companies making some very produced rotary type machines.
Yeah.
and people are using them, but it's a lot of people still like the aspect of what we are and knowing, if it's a Mike Pike rotary and, this is an actual real person that's a tattoo artist and not a, cosmetics company that's cranking out shit tons of stuff to try and make money off tattooing. That's never been our goal. Like, obviously, all of our builders and all what we do, we have families, we have things to support, but, it's not like some of the others that, are in it just for the money. We're in to provide better tools to people, essentially.
It seems, I think it's important to a lot of tattooers that tattooers are building their machines or building the machines that they're selling, that they're actually tattooing, or if they're producing ink, that they're actually tattooers that are producing ink and not just big corporations that are doing it. And that's one thing that I think the tattoo community is kind of like unified on, is that they want people that are they want actual tattooers building the products. And that's great. What about the outside of the machines, the stable colors, the other products that you're starting to bring on? Is that stuff picking up pretty well? Does it seem to be a good venture?
Yeah, the original stable color that Soba developed years ago is much more for traditional powder pigment-based ink. It's definitely thicker. It's more like something that you would make yourself in a shop, in a mason jar and whatever else. And it's good ink. It's high pigment content, real opaque, made out of only good ingredients. But at the same time, a lot of people nowadays just want stuff that's thin, stuff that goes in real easy. They don't have to think about it regardless of what's in the ink. It's real particular and real, important to us that the inks have the right ingredients in them and they don't just go in easy. But we understand a lot of people just can't tattoo with them, and they don't want to tattoo them that way. Some people do, and we still sell pretty much the same amount of the original traditional line as we always have. But we've added to that recently our what we call thin line. It's not any thinner than other regular inks that people are using out there, but it's thinner than our traditional line. We partnered with John Montgomery from Alla Prima, and he does an incredible job manufacturing ink and really cares about what goes into it. So we partner with him, and the thin line's taken off really well. A lot of our customers that couldn't tattoo with our traditional stuff can tattoo with this, and they know that it has proper ingredients. So we're real stoked on that.
And it's still marketed under it's called Stable Thin Line?
Yeah, Stable Color, and it works real well. We also partnered with Waverly Color with Bill, who we're real close friends with Bill, and he's a great guy, and he makes great ink as well. And he's helped us formulate a really good lining black that a lot of people are using for black and gray stuff too, our Black Stallion ink, and that's taken off like crazy. It's kind of like it's like an in-between Waverly Dark Black and Talons, kind of somewhere in between there.
Yeah, I haven't used that yet. I'll have to try it. Okay, well, what's the best way for people to find you? Just through the website, social stuff?
Workhorsirons.com. And then we just recently, within the last couple of weeks, we just opened a West Coast branch too. Okay. So we're in Michigan. It's 4 or 5 day shipping to the West Coast. We have a lot of customers out there, so we just opened a branch on the West Coast with our friend Sonia, and she's shipping everywhere, a day or two all along the West Coast. So that's Workhorse Irons.
Where is it on the West Coast?
It's in Oregon, just because that's where Sonia was. And Sonia's been in tattooing for years. She knows her shit inside and out, and she really does great customer service, and that's super important to us. So she's in Oregon, but it's West Coast still, so it's still like a day shipping to pretty much anywhere in California, better than 4 or 5. So that's workhorsironswest.com. The main site's workhorsirons.com.
Okay, great. Any social stuff? Instagram,
Facebook?
Workhorse
Irons, one word.
Yeah,
we post stuff on there almost every day. We always have new machines coming out and new projects and new products, and just keep blasting shit out there.
Yeah, if you guys aren't using or haven't used Workhorse machines, I've used the original Stable Color myself, and I like both. We only really try to promote stuff that we actually use. But if you haven't ever used a Workhorse machine, it's a great value. I mean, just the production machines they're real inexpensive. They come ready to run right out of the box. So check them out. Johnny, thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.